Okay. Is that better, Chris? All right, let's go back to this again. This live feed or live broadcast is in response to what our current establishment is doing. Okay, now we have some of the worst roads in the state of this country. I mean, literally, we could blindfold ourselves, not driving, but be the passenger, and you would know when you crossed into Michigan because of our roads. Now, Macomb County has some of the worst roads here in Michigan currently. I've reached out to Mark Hackle, the county executive over there, and tried to set up a meeting with him to give him my ideas for what I plan to do as Michigan's next governor. Now, it's sad to say that Schleiger and both the Democrats and the Republicans, and the reason I group them both because they are in control of the budget. And, it's a sad thing to see that they only offered $175 million to fix our roads. Now, Macomb County got offered $5 million of that, which isn't anywhere near the amount of money that needs to be put out to fix our roads. Just to give you an idea of what my budget is set off to the side for 4 years as governor is between 37 and 45 billion dollars. Yes, that's a B for billion. And that's not even increasing the taxes here in Michigan. So I don't understand why these two parties can't get their stuff together. If they can keep their fingers out of that gas tax and diesel tax that they've generated, plus the 20% increase in our registration fees, we wouldn't have so many issues with our roads. Now, I've had people ask me what I would do with our infrastructure. I do not include our roads in our infrastructure. And I'll say it again, why I don't include our roads into the infrastructure. Because we currently have a system for keeping our roads and bridges up to date and safe. It is called the gas tax. Now, if anybody wants to do some fact checking, you can go to the American Petroleum Institute. I've announced this over and over again if you want to fact check my numbers. We currently pay well over 60 cents a gallon. That is plenty of money to work on our roads and keep them up if they would stop letting them go for years and decades at a time. Now, again, well, David, he doesn't want to increase the state gas tax. He wants the Fed to increase the federal gas tax, which they've been talking about now roughly for 4 years. They started talking about it in Obama's tenure. But the whole facts are that's their excuse, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. And the only reason I mention both because they're equally responsible. It doesn't matter which party supposedly is in charge. The problem is they don't want to work together to do the work of the people. They just want to enrich their own parties and see how much money they can put in their pockets without getting caught. Now, I know that could be a harsh statement, but I feel it's the truth. So, again, my plan for our roads is to stop pilfering our gas tax fund. Like I said, Schneider thought he was being generous with $175 million towards our roads. It's not anywhere near the money needed to get our roads back into shape. Michigan is about the 4th highest out of the nation. It's either the 4th or it's the 4th now. Used to be the 6th, but with our increases of 7.3 cents last January, that put us up into the number 4th highest gas tax state. Now, that is roughly between $9.5 billion to $12 billion annually in the gas tax fund with that increase. Now, that's not just the gas tax, that's the diesel tax included. The gas tax is up over, would be right near $4 billion annually. The diesel tax has a much higher fluctuation because of all the trucks that run on Michigan roads. The numbers that are calculated for the gas tax is averaged to 16 gallons per vehicle, but the majority of our vehicles on the road are SUVs, which generally have between 20 and 26 gallon tanks. So we are on the low side of that estimate. So the problem with with the trucks, you're talking the over-road trucks that go intrastate, state to state, they carry 300 gallons of diesel. So you can see that dramatically increases the amount of tax Michigan collects on the diesel side of the tax. So what is being estimated at for the diesel tax for the state of Michigan is right around $6 to $6.5 billion annually. Now, the federal gas tax has been 18.4 cents since 1993. So I would agree that it's probably due to go up. Don't mind me, my little cell phone holder here keeps falling out of place. So if it falls again, it's going to stay falling. But we need to stop all this. I mean, like I said before, we need to keep their fingers out of the gas tax and utilize it for what it was meant for, not for their slush fund or for the general fund. And just recently here, I believe it was last week, we had, I believe it was Jeff Cranston, the head of the, the head of the Michigan Department of Transportation started bringing up the toll road issue again. Michigan has turned down toll roads for the last 25 years. What makes you think they're going to allow a toll road in Michigan? They're trying to find ways to make more and more money on the people of Michigan. Now, a toll road wouldn't just affect the people of Michigan because we do have heavy traffic on 94, but it is not a through state. That's the problem why toll roads will not work here in Michigan. We don't have enough traffic coming from Canada all the way up on 75 down to Ohio, so that leaves that issue out. So I do not agree with toll roads here in Michigan. You could say 69 is could be a possible toll road. No, there's not enough traffic from Canada to come over and make it worthwhile. So no, the toll roads are out of the question with me. They'll never be brought up in my administration. So again, the main thing that we have to do is to keep the state legislature and Senate and governor's office fingers out of the gas tax. They currently only put roughly, and I'm going to guess on this, I have not updated my numbers for research on the roads that they currently spend. Right now, they are currently, if I remember right near $6 billion. The majority of that money is the federal gas tax, not our state tax. Like I said, we currently gather in our gas tax and diesel tax all together between $9 and $12 billion annually. They're spending 25%, a little over 25% of that on our roads. So, like I've said before, this is a recipe for disaster, just like our school systems that John Engler started the downfall to. So this issue with these, I'm trying to refrain from calling them what I would like to call them, and they're very incompetent with our tax dollars. So sometimes they are, David. Ohio Turnpike technically was owned by a private entity at one point. They leased the property that the Ohio toll road is on for a period of 99 years, which that currently is, I think, within 15 years of being up if it hasn't already lapsed. So the state may be getting a big bill for that. Now, I will give Jeff Cranston credit for his comments last week about the toll, when the conversation with the toll roads come up. Yes, Ohio and Indiana spend more on their roads than Michigan. But again, that goes back to my statement about the fact that they are only spending 26.28% here in Michigan on our roads, where Ohio and Indiana are both spending near 75% of their gas tax money on their roads. So yes, that was a true statement he made. But again, when I'm elected governor, we will have a budget over the next 4 years for our roads and bridges between $37 and $45 billion over the 4-year period. That is money from the state for our roads, not counting the federal. Now, the federal tries to dispense money on an equal basis depending on the traffic in each of these states. Michigan is one of the states that receives a little heftier sum from the federal government for our roads. But that is just the interstate system. That is not our U.S. highways or our Michigan state highways or our side roads or secondary roads. That is all up to the state. Now, if you go up north, and I think John, and if Josh was on here, I would ask him as well. When we went up to the UP, after we got past a certain point, the roads were a heck of a lot better than they are down here in the lower half of the mitten. Again, people would like to say and make up excuses that it's because of our cold weather and with all the frost laws and everything else that goes on here in Michigan. Well, I hate to break it to you, Minnesota has frost laws as well. They have the frost heave and hoe of the ground just like we do here in Michigan. Not as extensive because of the Great Lakes that we have, but the facts are they still have it, and their roads are in better shape than ours. It's because of the amount of money that we spend. Now, if you seriously believe that electing a Democrat, and I see Mike's on here, and I know he's a strong supporter of the Republican Party, and I don't mean to call you out, Mr. Mike, but the facts are the facts. If we continue to go down these same roads of voting in Democrats and Republicans, we will not get no change. And I also see another person on here who's a strong opponent of the Democrats. It doesn't matter to me. The truth is the truth. And then if we can't accept the truth, then the facts are we're doomed for failure again. If you continue to want to vote Democrat or vote stringent Republican, then you're lying to yourself. For the simple fact, and I'm not trying to reach out here and attack anybody individually. The facts are the facts speak for themselves. We continue to vote these two parties in, and they do not do what they say they're going to do, and they keep increasing our taxes. Sorry, I'm a little on the tired side. So I was actually hoping Steve Kant would be on here because I'd like to have a discussion with him, but I haven't seen him join the conversation as of yet. But the facts are, no matter how we look at it, the only way we're going to fix our roads is by getting somebody elected into office that is going to do what they say they are going to do. You know, the only way I have been an independent all my life. I've voted both Democratic and I have voted Republican. I'm not ashamed of that. I do my research and I look into which is the best candidate for my family and my community. It's called due diligence. It's called being an independent thinker and stop being part of this routine plan that you feel just because a family member started you out as a Republican or a Democrat that you have to feel obligated to vote that way. It doesn't have to be that way. We need change in Michigan, and the only way we're going to get change is to start looking at other candidates for these offices. Michigan, we have an opportunity to clean house and get our state back on track to where our middle class is being rebuilt. I mean, after all, our middle class built this state. These wealthy people, all that are holier than thou, at least in their own minds, didn't get rich on their own. They got rich on the sweat of the middle class and the poverty levels. It's time that we start changing that around. You want better health insurance? You want lower auto insurance? Then the best way to do it is to vote these Democrats and Republicans out of office. Start looking at your independent candidates and your minor parties. It isn't a wasted vote. If that's how you feel you want to vote, you vote the way you feel. If you think that candidate is going to do the best for your family and your community, vote for that candidate. But I'm telling you right now, if you're thinking Democratic or Republican, you're going down the same old streets that we have been for decades. So with that being said, I've explained to you numerous times on the roads, and I'll keep saying the same thing over and over. If you want the roads fixed here in Michigan, then elect me for your next governor. Because I've already got a plan to keep our roads fixed. I've already been in communication with C.A. Hull and Riesling out of the western side of the state. I know what it's going to take to do and to fix these roads. It's actually called putting the money where it belongs, not reaching out and having a damn ice cream week in Lansing on taxpayer dollars. We've got sections of 96 that hasn't been corrupted in over 13 years. We have a section on 23, a 5-mile section that has lasted over 15 years before it got its first pothole. It's because those sections were test sections and they were built properly. The state won't change its recipe because I don't know, maybe it's job creation or job protection, whatever you want to call it, job security. So it's just a matter of doing what is right by the people of Michigan. Do you think these counties, when they start getting all these claims for damages to vehicles in their county, you think they're going to pay all these claims? No. They can't afford to pay all these claims, but yet they can't afford to fix the roads because the state won't budget the money properly. So if you want somebody who's going to do what they say they're going to do, and you want somebody who's out here that's going to fight for the people of Michigan, then I'm that person for you. Yes, I am an independent candidate. It is not a wasted vote. It's a vote that counts. And if you want it to count, you need to make sure that you vote for the person that's going to do the job. Bill Schuette's not going to do the job. He's an establishment politician all the way through. He personally will militarize our police departments. Now, I'm all for the police, don't get me wrong, but I don't think they need to be marching out here in a full combat gear walking into our neighborhoods. It used to be that we respected our law enforcement and we were proud to see them in our neighborhoods. Now, half the time, people who see them in their neighborhoods are running and hiding behind closet doors. Not because they're guilty of anything, but they don't trust them. Now, Gretchen Whitmer, she's another established politician. She's been in service or in office for 14 years. Now she brings up all these changes. Why hasn't she done anything in those 14 years? She's got her names on a couple of bills as co-sponsors. She didn't fight to get these bills passed as hard as she wants you to believe. She fought as hard as it took to get the lobbyists to give her share of the money. I mean, she just took a large chunk of money from Blue Cross Blue Shield as a donation for her campaign. The insurance industry as a whole just put millions of dollars in both parties' coffers for their war chest. How much more do you want from these two parties? They've managed the decline of our middle class. That's all they've succeeded in doing. If you want somebody to do the job for the people of Michigan, that would be me. I will stand up and I will fight for the people of Michigan. I won't take the lobbyist money. I won't take the corporatist money, but I will make the tax system fair. I will level the playing field for all the minor parties, including the two major parties. I will make it so that we have election reform here in Michigan. Something that we haven't had in a long time. I'm not talking about rigging the elections. We already know that goes on. But I am talking serious election reform here in Michigan. Do nothing, Gretchen, huh, David? And Bill Schuette on duty. That man has left us behind how many times? Look at all the rape kits that were left on the shelves in Detroit Police Department because the Attorney General's office didn't want to spend the money to take care of this. Think of all the rape victims that their assailants went untouched because they didn't want to spend the money to take care of these issues. Look at all the money Bill Schuette's taken from our big oil and energy companies. All you got to do is go back. And it's funny because the Koch brothers, they're notorious for funding a lot of these corporations and these politicians. They actually put out a USA PAC against Bill Schuette a couple years back because he took money from the big energy companies. How much more do you people want from these corrupt politicians? How much more can we take? Do you consistently want to keep going down these paths? Yeah, Gretchen Whitmore's husband used to work for Blue Cross Blue Shield. They're keeping it in the family. So does it surprise me? Here, we reached out, spoke to the UAW. We reached out, spoke to the AFL-CIO. Well, who do you think the UAW is going to put their vote behind? They're going to put their vote behind a Democrat. 80% of our unions here in Michigan are Democratic. But, 90% of their members are Republicans. So they say. And that's what the stats say. I had a meeting recently with Mike Stone, one of the high-ups in the UAW. I walked into the office, didn't expect him to be there. It was for a completely different meeting, but he happened to be there. I asked him point blank, what do I have to do to get some kind of endorsement out of you for my campaign? He says, well, we always supply a questionnaire that how we do our selection. I said, really? I says, I'll bet you go Democratic like you always do. Oh, no, that ain't how it works. Guess what? Gretchen's got an endorsement from the UAW. Surprised? Not me. That's the way the system works. They buy and pay for our elected officials. I will not be bought and paid for. The only people I'm going to answer to is you, the people of Michigan. I'm not going to answer to the Democrats. I'm not going to answer to the Republicans. I will work with them to get the job done for the people. But I'm not going to be held to them at all. I will be held accountable by you, the people. I want you to hold me accountable. That's why I'm pushing so hard for the bill that when I'm elected governor to be passed. Because I want you, the people, and myself when I'm out of office, to be able to hold our elected officials, our judges, our law enforcement accountable without being protected by the so-called thin blue line or protected by the judges. And it's funny, last night while I was out driving Lyft, yes, I still drive Lyft, I happened to have a young lawyer in my car. And I gave him an education. And the funny thing was, he pulled out his P card. And I asked him, I said, just look at it. You show me one place on that card that says it's a license to practice law. He says, it doesn't say license. I said, no, it says membership. Welcome to your club. This is the kind of corruption that needs to be stopped. We need a license for everything we do, basically. We need a license to drive. We need a business license to open our doors. But yet, lawyers don't have a license. Who do you think makes up the majority of our state House and our state Senate and our federal or our U.S. Senate and our U.S. House? The majority of them are lawyers. You know, they know the law. They know how to bend the law. They know how to corrupt the law. Do you think we can handle any more of this? Have you had enough of the corruption in our elections, in our courts, and in our politics? All I can say to you is it's time for change here in Michigan. I can't answer for the rest of the country, but I can answer for this state, this great state of ours. It's us, the people, that need to make the change. If you want change, you need to be the change. With that being said, you all have a wonderful evening. We're still looking for volunteers. You can go to Schleiger for Governor 2018.com. You can, of course, you're on Facebook with me here. You can get notifications when I'm doing these Facebook Lives, which they are going to start increasing as this election continues. As I find these issues that these people are so vehemently bringing out that they feel they're doing such great jobs for the people of Michigan with their menial $175 million to fix our roads. Thanks, Governor Schleiger. You're one tough nerd. An accountant you are, but numbers you don't know. That's all I have to say for tonight. If you go to the website, there's a donate button. If you feel like you can donate, we could definitely use it. And again, this room is going to be redone, so you don't have to look at my toddler bed for when the grandkids come over. But hey, this is my office. This is where I do a lot of my research. I apologize, but hey, this is who I am, and I'm not going to change for anybody. This is me. So I appreciate that, Dave. And hopefully at the end of this month, we still have a huge announcement that I would like to bring to the people. Once we know for sure, I think you'll like what I have to say towards the end of this month, but we want to make sure what we know and what we do. So with that being said, you all enjoy your evening. Have a good night. And I look to see you on the next live Facebook. Enjoy your evening.